Shop St. Vinny's to help your planet, help your budget, and help your neighbors in need. Give gently used items a new life. For your wardrobe, you can find such cute pieces. And stop contributing to the harms of fast fashion. In 2023 alone, they recycled 225,000 pounds of clothes a month. Plus, it's a steal, y'all. These are budget prices for things like kids' clothing as they grow, college students trying to find furniture for their space. Y'all, look no further. Plus, all proceeds stay in Dane County, so you're helping our community. Shop St. Vinny's today. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today, it's Thursday, so of course it's time to dish on Madison's food and bar scene. Earlier this year, Portobello Italian restaurant shut down, and never forget the heartbreak of Himmel Chuli abruptly closing after nearly 40 years, though a new concept was announced at some point to fill its place. There are so many amazing restaurants that Madison has had to say goodbye to over the years, and in their honor, we're bringing back one of our favorite shows from last year, where more than 100 responses about the local restaurants, cafes, and bars that you miss came in and were honored in this episode. I should note that almost a year has passed since the original episode published, so there are some recent losses that aren't reflected here. This episode is dedicated to our lost homies, a celebration of life. Let's begin. I'm bringing in the team on this one. First, our newsletter editor, Rob Thomas. Hey, Rob, are you ready to get in your feels?
I am both excited and sad to start this podcast. This is going to be something.
Yeah, this is a vibe. And our executive producer, Haley Sperling, are you ready to get nostalgic?
I live in the realm of nostalgia, so I am so beyond ready for this.
We're bathing in glitter nostalgia. We want it to be a happy thing, but also, like, look, grief is love. Love is grief. I'll leave it at that. That's as deep as I'm going to get. Before we get into your responses out there and each of our shared love and grief for them, I want to set the scene of why we're even talking about this, how we came to this idea for a show. Rob, do you remember?
Yeah, we were talking about, I can't remember where it started, but we were like, oh, what was that coffee shop on the lower end of State Street? And we were going back and forth. And then finally, we remembered it was Espresso Royale. And like the memory just came flooding back for everybody. Like Haley, like you knew the drink you used to get there when you were a student, right?
$2.50 Latte Wednesday. Absolutely. I remember. Never forget.
Yeah, that sale is etched. That sale is etched in. It basically all of this stuff flooded in. And we thought, holy smokes, we can't be alone. And we thought we better do a celebration of life because, I don't know, that seems fun. So this is going to be fun. I'm already crying. I'm just kidding, but gonna lay some ground rules on this since we had such a big response. I'm going to serve this conversation in 3 parts, okay? So you guys keep organized. Former restaurants, former bars, and former in-betweens, aka spots like cafes and music venues that serve food and bevies, because we got a number of those. We won't cover every fallen haunt here. I'm just gonna say that flat out. Only going with the most shared spots by number and our team's favorites. We did throw a couple of those in because we're on mic and we want to play. That said, Rob wrote a companion piece in the Madison Minute's newsletter to capture the full picture. So go check that out because then you can get an even bigger dose of nostalgia and happiness. And our producer, Jade, if you want to cue the Irish Wake music, we're going to get started. By far, the most cited missed restaurant was Ovens of Brittany. We got 6 votes for that one. And the original Ovens of Brittany was a restaurant that opened at State and Johnson Street in 1972. It closed in 2000. I never got a chance to go, but it's kind of a legend. The famed Odessa Piper was an apprentice there. She kind of helped get it started, from what I understand. And we've had her on the show. You know, she later went on to start L'Etoile. That episode with Odessa and the history behind Ovens of Brittany and like the legacy it brought is a must-listen episode if you want to go back. They were famous for, as they claim, basically inventing the morning sticky bun. Y'all, you've heard the legend of Odessa Piper for sure, who's still around, but Ovens of Brittany, not so much.
Not so much. This is also before my time in Madison. For context, I got here in 2013. But I think what's cool about Ovens of Brittany, and we'll get into it too, is just how its legacy continues to impact the Madison food scene and how Odessa Piper continues to impact the Madison food scene, because it has spun out some really amazing Madison institutions. You know, Odessa Piper went on to establish La Trois, which is now led by powerhouse chef executive Tori Miller. And she also really helped establish the farm to table movement in Madison, which we talked all about in that podcast.
Yeah, I think Ovens at Brittany was a restaurant I heard about more than I actually went to. I think I got here in 99, so I overlapped it by about a year, but I did not have the income to eat at Ovens of Brittany at the time. I was more of a radical rye man myself. But yeah, again, it was sort of like shorthand for nice Madison restaurant at that time.
Oh, got it. A lot of you wrote in about Ovens of Brittany. Here's a quote from Carlo D. He said, quote, "How I wish it was still with us." And then Deidre D said, quote, "Their croissants were then and still are the best ever. Paired with their turkey almond soup, you had the perfect lunch." Then also we had big love for the morning buns and the butter from Jennifer S. And an early stan of CityCast Madison, someone that I went to school with, or he was a TA, came up to me at a different bakery, which I go to a lot, Far Breton. You guys know we love Far Breton.
We love.
They've got morning sticky buns, and he had just listened to the episode on Odessa Piper, and he was just like, that was such a Madison story and such an institution, and I've lived here for many years, obviously, for him to have gone to that. And I didn't realize like I could learn more about our city. Like that was an early kind of pump up, like CityCast Madison, love for the stuff that we're doing. So Ovens of Brittany, you got your moment. Moving on, the next highest number that came in was for Smokies, which closed back in 2022 after nearly 70 years in business. Do you guys know about Smokies?
Yes, another place, outing myself, never been. But the thing that's so iconic to me about Smokies was their big neon sign out in front. Like you could not miss that driving down University Avenue.
Yeah, again, I didn't go either. I think I still have a gift certificate that I won at my daughter's school carnival that I never cashed in. And then when they announced our closing in 2022, I was like, oh, I got to go. And then never made it. But it was like, yeah, it was such an iconic thing to drive by on University Avenue. Like it was like exactly the same as it must have been 40 or 50 years ago.
Yeah. And we did ask folks, and not everyone shared this piece, but like, what was your favorite dish from the space? And Trudy B, who wrote in for Smokies, highlighted their most missed dish from there was the cottage cheese salad. That's a move. Like, if you're for the cottage cheese salad, that must be a good salad, because that sounds wild to me.
I mean, where else are you going to get that? I can't name one single place in Madison where that's on the menu.
And you know, they would make it like Smokies no matter what.
Yeah, identity. There's some identity there, man. And, you know, our next one, we're going to move on, was love for Broca Irish Pub and Whiskey Den. That's why we started this thing with some Irish wake music. That was on the Capitol Square on Main Street with kind of the iconic Gaelic-inspired facade. It was laid empty for a long time. But yeah, you guys remember Broca's, right?
Yes, one of my favorite dishes from there was their bangers and mash. That was so good. And thinking about prepping for this episode, I'm like, where can I get bangers and mash now? I don't even know. I know they also had a spot on Monroe Street, Broca, and that also closed around the same time that the one on the Capitol Square did. But it was a vibe until it wasn't, right, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, Broca was like classic Irish pub. Like it was where I got a Scotch egg. Have you guys ever had a Scotch egg?
Yes.
Yeah. But then they did that crazy redesign where they basically took out all the Gaelic charm and made it look like a sleek Euro spot, which was very strange. It was sort of like we were mourning Broca when it was still open. And I think people who think fondly of it don't think of that latter stage Broca.
Yeah, that redesign, I think that was kind of the final nail in the coffin because it had so much of that pub and design and warm feeling. And then I feel like they sort of just gentrified themselves out of existence. But a fun fact that I did learn while doing some research for this episode is that Broca is actually the Irish word for badger.
Hey!
There we go.
That's funny because that was the only time I went was when I was a Badger. I know you're Badger for life, but I totally missed the redesign moment. So I was really sad when I heard Broca close. There was open mics and musicians that would play. I always fancied that someday I was going to do the open mic. The food was good. Like, it was so stylized. I don't know why people changed that up, but I do want to say Lauren left us a voicemail for why she wrote in about Broca and missing it. So let's listen to that.
Hey, Bianca, Rob, Jade, and Haley. This is Lauren from Willie Street. This is a call about the restaurants that are no longer existing. So I visited Madison to interview for a company, you know which one, and I ate at Brocash on the square. And then months later when I moved here, Brocash was closed. And so I don't have any emotional attachment to it, but it was just really weird to me that the one glimpse I had of Madison kind of almost didn't exist anymore once I actually moved here, and that space is still empty in a prime location.
Change is hard. Let's keep moving, y'all, because next, speaking of change being really hard, we're going to talk about a late night Eats champion for all those who have ever gone too hard in the night. Of course, we got love in for Burrito Drive. Andrew K. said, quote, about Burrito Drive, "It was my everything." Haley, I know you concur.
It was my everything. That place, I mean, Burrito Drive carried me through truly the darkest days of the pandemic, if we're being real. And like, what made it so special? To be honest, it wasn't that special, but it was convenient. It was consistent. It was easy. It was priced well. You used to be able to order online, like natively through their website. Delivery was $1. Now, where are we going to get mid-Wexican food? It doesn't exist anymore. That's what made it special and unique. You could get a burrito the size of a small child with a side of tater tots and that horrible, delicious, gooey nacho cheese that shouldn't exist, but you could dip your burrito into it. Like, it was... you guys know I literally have a Burrito Drive takeout menu that I carry with me in my car. I had to take it out of the car for this conversation to carry it with me through this conversation here. So my emotional support Burrito Drive menu stays with me.
Do you call the number and just listen to the dial tone late at night?
Every night.
Sob. Yeah. Tears streaming down your cheek.
They're like, "Hey, Miss Haley," it's someone new. Like, "We know it's been hard on you."
Yeah, probably not the only one.
Yeah, they're probably getting a lot of calls. I know that when they closed down, we did a eulogy reading different people's comments, and they were all hilarious because I think the clientele at Burrito Drive, those are fun people. And I think my favorite burrito had tater tots in the burrito. It was such a useful place and a spiritual place. And if you went in, I'm saying spiritual in like the most fun way, you could have an adventure at Burrito Drive, like at 2 or 3. Like, it's truly a loss for the late night scene. And RIP. We do want to go to another really fun one that is a top one for both Rob and for me. Not too far away on Willie Street, across from the Weary Traveler, the infamous land of fun and colors. Another inspiration for this episode, Jolly Bob's. Rob.
This one hurts. You know, it's kind of like the Bangers and Mash where it leaves Madison and there's nothing to replace it. Like there's nothing that makes this kind of, I would say, Jimmy Buffett style Caribbean restaurant and bar. I remember my wife and I, we were engaged. We were staring at like the pictures of the tropical paradises on the walls. We were planning our honeymoon to Puerto Rico. I can still taste the, I think it's called the Black Cat, the blackened mahi-mahi. Such a good dish. And you just can't get it anywhere anymore.
It was such a good dish. It was such a vibe. Nothing compares, nothing compares to you. It was a party. I've never seen anything like it in Madison. You'd walk in and there was an inside that you walk in and you could go down steps to an outside patio in the back.
Patio, so nice. Yeah.
So nice and decorated, so fun. And yeah, it's like if you like pina coladas vibe, except for it was actually like Caribbean and the food was great and the blackened fish was peak. Caitlin R. wrote in and said, every time my husband and I plan a date, one of us says, quote, we wish we could just go back to Jolly Bob's. We used to joke that you needed a passport to get in. The rum, drinks, and vibe felt like you were transported to an island. Facts. I want this experience for everyone. And in fact, let's someone bring it back.
We need this place in a Wisconsin winter, especially.
Yes.
Yeah, it did have an illusory effect when you walked in. Well, hey, we got a voicemail in from Jenny about the restaurant Horn of Africa. Let's listen to that.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I live in the East Buckeye neighborhood, and this is about restaurants that we miss terribly, and the one I miss terribly is the Horn of Africa. I think it closed about 30 years ago. The owner's name was Messelish. She was Eritrean, not Ethiopian. We were corrected on that real quick. She was something like 80 years old, ran the place, waited tables, cooked the food. My favorite dish was Yepsomwat, which was the tray of vegetarian little blobs of food, and the day we went and I ordered it, she asked me, are you vegetarian? And I said, no. And she said, you eat my beans, you never eat meat again. And she was right. If I could eat that every day, I would not need to eat pretty much anything else in my life. It was amazing. She was amazing. Would go table to table and check on people. And even if you had like a tiny, tiny bit of food left on the shared tray, she would get a piece of injera and swoop it up and stick it in your mouth like a mom. Really, really loved that place. We took friends. We went so many times, but they closed anyway. So that's my contribution to the restaurants I miss. Thanks. Bye.
Oh my God, Jenny, an impression 30 years later. That woman sounds like such a personality and vibe, and the food. Oh my gosh, that is, obviously, I don't think I would have gone to Horn of Africa, considering that would make me 3 years old. I think I might have been closer to a different city. I'm so glad we're doing this show because, heck, this is our Madison history, y'all. We're going to go to some State Street favorites. Kabul got a few right in. Someone who goes by Gulf and Preach said, quote, delicious food, good service, attentive host, and a great window on State Street. Haley, you had Kabul on your list.
Yeah, this is also one that I really miss dearly. When I came to Madison, they were on one side of State Street, but then the construction for the hub started and they got booted over to the other side of State Street. And that's when they were like on the second floor area. And I just remember it had a beautiful ceiling in there. And it was just, I don't know, it was really good vibes. The food was amazing. The people were so, so nice. And I really wish, I know they had talked about reopening when they closed the second State Street spot. They had talked about reopening in a different location, not downtown, maybe on the east or west side. It could still happen. It's been 10 years, but it could still happen. Who knows?
The Haley Whisper is out. Hear Haley's call.
Please.
We all want it. We all want this. Another one from State Street that is, I believe, seared both into Haley and my heart. Pizza de Roma. Gabriella V, we're with you. You so rightly wrote in and said, Pizza de Roma, quote, it was the place to go to get a huge slice for cheap and pretty yummy too. Those slices were the size of your face. Haley, I'm going to let you go first. What is Pizza de Roma to you?
If Burrito Drive carried me through the pandemic, PDR carried me through like my college years. That was everything to me. It was like you were Team Ian's or you were Team PDR, and I was wholeheartedly PDR because there was like a spinach feta slice.
That was mine too.
Yes, it's so.
Yes.
And I think about it.
No one
often.
does it better.
It just comes up in my mind. It's so good, and also a sleeper that no one really knew about. But their fries were so good. And again, just consistently open. You knew what you were going to get when you're walking in there. The prices were good. The hours were late. It was very close to the Badger Herald offices. And then even after I graduated, I lived like a block away on State Street. And you can bet I was at PDR an unholy amount of time.
The pizza was genuinely great. And my personal connection was I went to Pizza di Roma before I lived here with my older brother. And I was like, oh my gosh, Madison, could I live here one day? And then I, like during high school would bring the forensics team, the speech competition, be like, I know a spot and like go down to Pizza di Roma. And then when I did finally live there, it was peaceful in there during the day. So I, when I worked downtown and also I think probably during school, I would get lunches there and 100% the spinach slice. It was also my mom's favorite type of pizza. And so I have memories of listening to my first ever episodes of Radiolab there and just being at peace. I'll also say that there was a man who worked there who was handsome and spoke a little bit broken English and asked me out almost every time I went in there for like 6 months. And then I finally broke down and went on a date with him, and I didn't know him, and I was like, we can go to James Madison Park, and sat down for an hour, and it was very awkward and cute, and shout out to him for showing me so much love. He was respectful and not for me.
Hey, we live and we learn, and some things aren't meant to last forever.
Some things aren't meant to last. And I think it competed easily with Ian's. And it was one of those late night students are like lined out the door sort of places. So it's a really good call for students. I'm going to run through a couple here. Magnus, which I have heard a lot about. I never got the opportunity to go. It was in what is now Tempest in that location. And a number of you wrote us about Magnus. Kelly Kay said, quote, Magnus, the original jazz, grand piano, chimichurri sauce, and homemade bread, and the best bartenders will always be my favorite restaurant in Madison. So if you go into Tempest today, you guys know, on Wilson Street, it's downtown, a little bit off. It's a, fancy seafood restaurant. For those of you listening who've been in there, there's a big piano. If you've seen that, like that's from the piano. Like there's Magnus.
Right.
Yeah. So anywho, we're going all the way over, kind of closer back to State Street and campus, to West Gorham. We got a shout out for Vientiane Palace. This is from Stacy H., who said, it was possibly the very first restaurant to close during COVID. Their old space next to the plaza has been vacant ever since as well. I've wished someone would interview the old owners to see what they're up to. My dream is that their recipes are magically bestowed to another restaurant or food truck where we can eat the pad thai again. There is nothing like it in town. Hot and spicy Monona is the current best, but it's not the same. Stacy, yes. I have dreams of their food. That's the first place I ever had squash curry. Never had it better since. My first place I had pad lao, and still my favorite. I still dream about those recipes, and I would absolutely love to interview the owner, considering I lived on that block in college and went there quite often, and frankly for years thought, this woman does not like me. Of course, I'm sensitive, so. But she was like, never like any extra sort of enthusiasm when I came in, even though I came in every week, multiple times a week. And then when they were closing, she was basically alluded to the fact she would miss me. And I was like, okay, so we're like pals. So if anyone knows the owners or you're listening somehow, like we would love to interview you because you guys have a legendary restaurant.
These are deep connections. Like there's something about food that stirs memory and locks to a certain place. Like I think of that scene in Ratatouille where the critic eats the food and all of a sudden is transported back to when he was a little kid. And like, that's kind of what we're doing here. Like it's as much about the people we were when we ate at this place as the place itself.
Let's transition to talk about our former bars. So we're going to pour one out for those, starting with OK's Corral, because they got some love. Jennifer S. wrote in and said that is one that she misses dearly, particularly during their music scene heyday in the 80s. Rob, I know this was on your list.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember if they had food there or even whatever I drank, but as a music bar, it was second to none. A lot of bands, the first time they played in Madison, they played OK's. I think my most Cherish Memory OKs was sitting on the sidewalk outside the bar when it was closed with this band who had gotten there early and couldn't get in. So we're like, oh, let's do an interview. They interviewed them. And, I think Gamma Ray is the same kind of place now in Madison. It was such a cool place. And like I said, a lot of bands who are big now will remember that's the first place they played when they came to Madison before they were famous.
Yeah, it's definitely before my time, but even its name is jazzy and fun. Okay's Corral, you know? The first time that I heard about it was when we started talking about Clyde Stubblefield and the documentary Trevor Banks is making about him, Give the Drummer Some, and just mentioning that was one of the places that, the funkiest drummer to ever live, who is said to be also the most sampled drummer, would play regularly there.
Yeah. It burned down, I think it was New Year's Day, 2001. So it was a huge loss. One time I interviewed Jeff Tweedy from Wilco, and he was one of the first place they played was OK's. And he told me the story that when they got there was no opening act for them. So the bartender just looked over at a guy who was like mopping the floors and was like, Steve, you got a band, right? He was like, yeah. Well, that was the opening act. So
that's so Madison.
That's incredible. I wish I could have gone. And there's another place that I wish I could have gone because I've heard about it many times in lore, and it's more fun and music out in these streets. Haley, you had deep love for Karaoke Kid, and we also had listeners write in about that. Tell us about it.
The real KK, if you know, you know. It's not the college club. It is Karaoke Kid. I mean, what else do you want? Karaoke in a college town. It was like one of the places to go. I also remember it was one of the places. They were so strict on fake IDs at a time. They were not messing around. You had to be 21 to get in there. So it's no teens just trying to steal your thunder, taking their Taylor Swift. These days, it's still a karaoke bar. So, Karaoke Kid, unfortunately, was a victim of the pandemic, closed down a few years back, and we're very sad about that. But in its place, Mom's Bar has opened up, doing kind of the same, but a little bit better. They flipped the layout of the spot. So Karaoke Kid, you would walk in and they had this private room right in front. And then it was the bar on the left side and seating on the right. And at the back of it was the stage. And Mom's flipped all of that. So they took out the private room, they put the stage in front, and then they have seating everywhere. And it's really opened it up and made it just kind of a cool spot. Still very much a spot for teens to go sing Taylor Swift at this point, but glad that Madison still has a karaoke bar around town. Not to say other bars aren't doing karaoke, but it's a spot.
Yeah. And it's fun and it's very pink.
Yes.
And it's very newer generations and queer and all accepting. It's a pretty cool spot. So Karaoke Kid, we're going to move to the last category, which are the in-betweens. So this was the second most cited location overall, Radical Rye, y'all. Radical Rye Deli, which is another historic one, right? That deli was opened by two of the brothers who bombed Sterling Hall. I mean, it's hard for them to get that reputation separate from Radical Rye. Right after they got out of prison, they started that and made quite the impression on Madison. We got a voicemail in from Dan on Radical Rye. Let's listen.
Hey, CityCast team. My name is Dan from the Westmoreland neighborhood, and I'm calling to mention one of the restaurants that I'm nostalgic about in Madison. I grew up going to Radical Rye downtown, and it was my favorite sandwich shop. I miss it so much. Such delicious bread. Ultimate customization you could do on those sandwiches, little slips of paper to fill out exactly what you wanted. I was just a kid when I went there, but I just remember being absolutely blown away by how cool it felt in there. And it was always funny to hear them try to butcher people's names when they were finally done with the sandwiches. So anyway, I wish that Radical Rye was still around somewhere. Thanks so much for all you do.
Thank you, Dan. We got another message in, that kind of talked about the process and the fun there from Andrew L., who said, quote, I have good memories of going there between classes. Sandwich shop, you walked in and grabbed a paper slip, like the paper slips at a sushi restaurant, checked off everything you wanted, turned it in. I remember it being kind of a cool spot, and the sandwiches were good. It was almost 30 years ago, but there was something kind of fun about the process. It was a lot more unique than something like Subway. So it's made an impression. Rob, you know about Radical Rye. You mentioned it.
Yeah, it was a cool spot. It's where it was where that glass wedge of Momoka is now. And it also was sort of like a wedge-shaped restaurant. I'd forgotten about the paper slips, but that did make an impression that that's how you ordered your food. And I remember it was also, just like a step above like a Subway level sandwich shop. And, I feel like now we have very fancy artisanal sandwiches shops now. And this was sort of like a step towards that.
I know this is not going to compare, and people listen like, how dare you even? But, Haley, when we were talking about this show, talked about there's a pasta shop on State Street called Mia's, and they had a similar, like, write your name on a piece of paper situation. And it was fun because I always wrote Admiral Akbar or, like, ridiculous names to be called out. But having the process actually can be really fun.
It's nice when you don't have to talk to people sometimes, when you can just go strike off, this is what I want. And honestly, sometimes I would go to Mia's and make the most horrendous combinations and they would be amazing. So you never know. Don't knock it till you try it, right?
I would love to try a Haley combo. We're going to keep moving. Manna Cafe. That's something that we got a few votes in on, and I remember hearing lots about, hadn't been. But we got a voicemail in about Manna from David.
Hey, CityCast team. This is David down in Oregon, Wisconsin. You asked recently about restaurants that had closed that I'm nostalgic for, and one of them was Manna Cafe and Bakery. It used to be on Sherman Avenue. It was just the most amazing place. Very local, hometown feeling. It felt like you were going into your grandma's house. The food was amazing. There was always a line out the door. The best quiche I've ever had. Some of the best baked goods. One of my most amazing dining experiences. I ordered their chili, which was amazing. Most places when you order chili, it's like molten lava and you have to wait forever to eat it. They served it at the perfect temperature. I tell that story all the time. To me, it's just simply amazing. They served amazing chili at the perfect temperature so you can actually eat it without burning your face off. Manna Cafe and Bakery, they also published a cookbook and the history of the cafe a couple of years after they closed, which I got, and it's amazing. So Manna Cafe and Bakery, Sherman Avenue, was a great place. Thanks, CityCast team.
This joy and love is so infectious. We're all smiling so big right now.
I'm just obsessed with this quip about the chili. I mean, he's so right.
Everything's simply amazing.
You could blow on it. I understand the memory there, but you could blow on it.
Well, David, you're not alone. Ryan L. said, quote, they had the best quiche I have ever had. So in terms of that part of your message, there's fans of the Manna Cafe quiche. And we're going to move on to Espresso Royale because we started the episode there. We won't spend too much time, but it was and is... What, like 70% of our body, our spiritual body? Like, what would you say, Haley?
At this point, how long does it take for your cells to cycle through 7 years, right? I'm about 7 years out of college. It's not out of our system, though, because it prompted this whole show. It's almost out of my system physically, but spiritually, emotionally, Espresso Royale lives on, it lives within me forever. I always kind of thought it was weird that they had 2 locations on State Street. Like there was one on Lower State Street and then there was one on the 200 block. And I lived right above that one on the 200 block for a while too. So that was very dangerous, but they had different deals every day. And on Wednesdays, they had 250 lattes, any size. And so I would get a large iced latte. And those things were monsters, like 32-ounce drinks. And I would drink 2 or 3 of them to get me through the day, which I am disgusted with myself saying that out loud. But here we are.
I'll say with the 2 Espresso Royales, the one up closer to the Capitol, that one, I had my first date there ever.
Aww.
It was the spot to go. So much studying happened there. Lost my wallet there. Went there at night. They were open at night. And one time, this is ridiculousness, my friends brought Franzia in and we drank wine in the back. Like there were younger people working at the cafe. Like I don't think anyone cared. Like I'm just gonna say it was lawlessness. No, we're gonna get in trouble for that. It's closed. You guys closed. But it was truly felt like home for a lot of college students. Rob, did you have any connection with the good old Espresso Royale?
What I remember was, I would go to the Wisconsin Film Festival every year. And for a few years, they were a sponsor. And that upper back room, they would have filmmaker chats. And it was really cool because it was you grab a latte and you go up there and the filmmakers would be talking about their work in this kind of cool, informal space. And so that's what I associate with Espresso Royale is those things.
Y'all, before we go, to my teammates here, if you could bring one, just one, okay, two, one bar and one restaurant or cafe, but you only get two back, which would they be?
Okay, well, my first no question is Burrito Drive. Like, please, if they're listening, please come back. If I could do two restaurants, it would be Burrito Drive and Pizza de Roma. Though I will say our girl Jenny was really selling me on Horn of Africa, and you guys were really selling me on Jolly Bob. So I'm conflicted there, but I'd have to go. I gotta go Burrito Drive. That's my number one. I miss you every day. We've never stopped talking about you. You know that meme where there's like the girl laying on the ground and it's something underneath and it's like, we still talk about you. That's me to Burrito Drive.
Well, Haley, so there's a surprise that we didn't tell you about.
No.
We actually talked to the old owner and
Shut up. Don't play with me like that.
That's
I'm sorry.
cruel.
Devastating.
That's cruel.
You get a car.
I quit.
I'll bring you a burrito. Rob, it's your turn.
So my two we haven't mentioned yet. One was OSS Madison, which was this gourmet hot dog shop on Regent Street that closed, was it 8 years ago? Something like that. Maybe it was a pandemic casualty, but they had these great, extremely creative hot dogs and they were so fun. And I remember in 2016, they made a hot dog for every presidential candidate and they were wild. Like the one for Trump had a wall of French fries down the middle. We can laugh about it now, I guess. But,
yeah, my head dropped.
or we laughed at the time, maybe. But I thought business was good. But anyway, that was a place I really missed. And then this is recency bias, but like my wife and I really liked that place on Monroe Street called The One and Only. It was in the old Brasserie V space. It was great. And like the thing is, like, we have ruts where we go to the same 5 or 6 places. We're like, okay, good. We finally found a new place. We like, boom, it's gone. So.
That is such a tough location. We interviewed them on the podcast and the food I had there was fantastic. Not sure what happened, but yes. So sad. RIP. Come back. I guess it's my turn. I'm going to go with two that also have not been mentioned yet. And just to be clear, there are so many that we haven't gotten to mention, and we're already going so long. You know, this is a long episode for us. So you can add us, but no, we really tried. My top two that I would bring back, a restaurant, Sophia's Cafe. So that was on East Johnson, and I've never actually been to a place like it again, kind of in the vein of what David said about Mana Cafe. Like, it feels like you're going into your grandma's house. It felt like family. It felt like home. And all of the tables were shared. So you'd go in there and it was always full. There was always a line. So you go in there and you're sharing tables with other bright and bushy-tailed people for brunch, and there's like flower pots outside, and they had great baked goods. And my dish there was the egg croissant sandwich. It's very solid. And then I would bring back Plan B, the gay club on Williamson Street, because that was one of those nostalgic, like, sort of first events that you had. And they had lots of drag shows that my best friend was in. And I just danced my little booty off and I want to dance more. And I miss dancing. And so it would be Plan B, because I actually know that one, or swap for Hotel Washington, which what? Like that, you know, we've talked about on the show, but on West Wash, there is like a multi-part, basically gay club that was like, there was a barber shop, there was food that could be had. Like, it was a multifaceted club for queerness and like liberation. And I just wish I could have gone.
I also, that was one that I wish I could have gone to. Did you ever go to Ritual?
Ritual sounds familiar.
It was right between, I think it's where Settle Down is now-ish. It's like right between Merchant, Lucille area. And it was like a combination. Yes. Barbershop.
Oh, yes.
And they turned it into a bar at night. Yeah. No, it was a kind of a place where, like, if you know, you know, but also the vibes were interesting. But I don't know. I'm getting a flashback to that. That one would be fun. Also, one that we didn't mention that I do love, Wiener Shop. Rob, did you ever go there?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was good. It was just really good.
Where was the Wiener Shop? I missed all the hot dog places, apparently.
It's like right by where Chiba Hut is. It's like that. It's that weird intersection, like Gorham, University Ave. It's a hard spot, but it was so good.
Yeah, there was.
This is so fun. I hope everyone out there listening, like, you're like screaming at us and like out of love and just thinking, I want to say this and you're so right. And what are you talking about? You missed these. I hate to be the person to wrap this, but we are going to wrap this fun. Trust, there were dozens and dozens of more establishments we didn't get to say, and plenty of them will be highlighted in that article that Rob wrote. So go check your inbox if you haven't. And if you're not signed up for the newsletter, sign up and then go to the website and read it there, where you can get all of the newsletters. And yeah, you guys, this was just so much fun. Thank you for taking this nostalgic magic carpet ride with me and the listeners and readers.
Any day.
Haley, thanks so much.
Thanks, Bianca.
Rob, appreciate you.
Thanks, Bianca.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. If you enjoyed the show, why don't you share this episode with a lover of the Madison food and drink scene? Alrighty, we'll be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, eat well.